fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
All right, guys, we are back. Broke Bets here, Lane. Sorry, guys, we didn't get a video last week. Like I said, I was on vacation. I'm also starting a new job, kind of a little chaotic. And Carson was also on a trip for the previous one. So getting back to the daily routine here. What's up, dude?
Yes, sir. Glad to be back. It was a good vacation, good getaway. But now we're here every week until the end of September. I think UFC card every Saturday until then.
Sure, yeah. First fight, Cody Brundage versus Sedriques Dumas. A lot of people calling Sedriques Dumas dumbass after his previous fight. We're going to stick with Cody Brundage in this matchup. I've never been a fan of this guy. I've never defended him. But he has proved me wrong a little bit in his last fights. Tresean Gore picked up against him in that fight. Showed up, got the knockout. Didn't really expect that. And then even the Rodolfo Vieira fight, although he made a horrible decision in the second round, first round was all him, domination. Dumas, as we saw in his first fight, just kind of lacking that full experience. And, similar to Cody Brundage when he started off in the UFC. Dumas just started too fast, threw too many hard punches, and he was taken to the ground and kind of gave up there. So I think Cody Brundage could find a ground and pound knockout or a knockout on the feet. Seems like his hands are heavy recently here, and I see this fight just not going the distance for the most part. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a finish here pretty quick either way. Brundage, his fight IQ is just not there, and especially in that last fight against Vieira. And then Dumas, he gassed out after like the first 4 minutes. So, Brundage, he kind of gassed out and gave up against Olajaychuk too in that fight. So I think whatever way this goes, I see a finish early.
Right, I remember a staple of the last Dumas fight too. Dumas had like you can see that he has a 79-inch reach. I just scroll down slightly, and you see Cody Brundage has a 72. But I remember when he faced Josh Fremd, he had this big reach advantage, didn't use any of it, and kind of paid for it at the same time. But yeah, this is going to be a slugfest or instantly trying to get it to the ground. Someone's going to gas, someone's going to tire out, someone's going to get knocked out. That's my opinion. So, Brundage, knockout, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Tatsuro Taira versus Kleydson Rodrigues. Taking Tatsuro here, just a grappling advantage. He's a big favorite, but this is a step-up test for him, in my opinion. Rodrigues has shown pretty well-rounded striking game. Actually, a fairly similar style to Taira, keeping distance, using leg kicks, speed. But I think that overall the ground game, the wrestling, will be on Tatsuro's side, getting those takedowns. And as we've seen, phenomenal top pressure and being able to really hold his opponents down. And we saw Kleydson Rodrigues versus CJ Vergara. Even though he should have gotten that win in the judges' scorecards, he still got held down for some portions of the second round. So sticking with Tatsuro Taira, I'm thinking decision here. I think that Rodrigues can defend a lot of these submission attempts. Obviously, Tatsuro could throw some crazy shit out there, but I think this one goes the distance.
Yeah, I like Taira here as well. I bet on both these guys in all of their UFC fights. I think most of the people are just looking at Taira finishing Vergara and then Rodrigues losing to Vergara as their common opponent there. But yeah, I think Rodrigues is good enough to defend these submissions and go to a decision here. But I see Tatsuro Taira winning the bulk of the grappling exchanges, and he'll have the better top pressure and win a decision here.
This was I don't know why people ever shit on the flyweight division, but they always put on such great prospect fights, and this is one of those fights. Like both of these guys have been just rising up in the division, have looked phenomenal in their performances. So, this is like top 5 fighters almost in the future going at it, in my opinion. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, the only thing I could really think of why this is so far or so early, it would be Taira, being from Japan. Hopefully it's at a decent enough time where his home folks could watch him. But yeah, I mean, this is like a main card fight in my opinion.
Right. All right. Tatsuro Taira by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Jamall Emmers versus Jack Jenkins. Coming in this fight, I really like Jamall Emmers here. Jack Jenkins looked great in both his Contender Series fight and in his UFC debut. However, experience is just a big issue here. Jamall Emmers has faced some real good fighters here in the UFC. We just saw Radzhabov on his UFC debut. Everyone really believing in the guy. And Emmers just fought an extremely consistent fight, high fight IQ, and didn't play into his game. Jack Jenkins, got the good low leg kicks, got the good body strikes, body punches. I think overall, though, Emmers got that range, 74-inch reach here versus a 68, a height advantage, and shown he's pretty good on the ground as well. So I like Emmers to win a decision here. I think this is going to be a good point fighting match.
Yeah, I think this fight will go the distance. Both these guys are super tough. Jenkins, in the clinch, he uses knees to the body really well. But the level of competition, I think Emmers has the edge there, as well as the range here. So I like Emmers.
Yeah. Again, proving people wrong in that last matchup, experience. Again, I think Jack Jenkins has a good future ahead of him, but however, it's a big jump, especially for this division as well. So, all right, Jamall Emmers by decision. All right, for the next fight, we have Trevor Peek versus Chepe Mariscal. In this one, man, I don't trust Trevor Peek. I don't think that his UFC career will last. I mean, he'll probably be in the UFC for a while, but I don't think his style will win him a bunch of fights in a row for however long. We will pick him in this fight, but man, I don't trust him. We're going to pick him by knockout, and what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are seeing Chepe, his level of competition. He's fought some really good opponents. Bryce Mitchell, Pat Sabatini, all of these guys he's fought before they were in the UFC. So level of competition he's fought has been really good. But, I mean, he's on short notice. He's going up a weight class here as well. I just think Trevor Peek will be able to find a KO in round 1. And probably standing hammer fist KO is what I'll go with.
Weirdest knockout ever. But Peek as well, I've seen from him, he obviously watched his Contender Series fight. This Malik Lewis guy was beating the fuck out of him. He's just got a big blocky head like Drew Dober as well. So knocking this guy out is pretty hard to do. Not to mention when you're, a redneck and, you're probably, gotta chew in or something during the fight in your mouth guard. That probably helps your chin as well. But Trevor Peek, when he gets taken down, he seems to get taken down pretty frequently, but he gets up really fast and it wears out his opponents. So Chepe might try to get the fight down to the ground here, but Peek could easily just get back up, wear him down, and doesn't seem to slow down too bad. So I don't know how long it's going to last. It'll be funny as it lasts, but I wouldn't bet Peek's money line ever, but probably the under's even inflated to me. I don't know what you think there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little inflated now, but Peek was minus 200 or whatever, and now he's pretty close to even money, so I don't mind that at all. He's probably a 50-50 fighter, so.
Yes, yeah, so.
If you're betting him, might as well just do by KO, because I think that's probably his only path.
It's being wild and yeah.
The crowd's going to be cheering him on here pretty wild here too, so I think they'll be going for a KO.
Right. All right, Trevor Peak, KO, round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Zhalgas Zhumagulov, Paddy Pimblett's Kazakhstani brother versus Joshua Van. Gotta take Zhalgas, man. I don't know how many times I gotta break down a Zhalgas fight before. This one's probably gonna get canceled, like day of, somehow. That's another. Yeah, right. That's another Zhalgas breakdown, though. Gonna take him by decision. I've watched Joshua Van, and he actually has some pretty good skills. He has one of the weirdest body types I've seen, though. I think his torso is longer than his legs. He's got one of those weird builds. Zhalgas is also really short or whatever as well, but Joshua Van, I've seen pretty decent boxing, something that could scare you, pretty good power, and good timing, so something to watch out for there. But Zhalgas, he could get takedowns. I watch Van get put on his back pretty frequently, and Zhalgas can get the takedowns, he gets fence control, and he's also just very bouncy in the striking, so I see him winning decision here. What do you think?
Yeah, it's Van's UFC debut. He's only 21 years old. I just think Zhalgas will, being the veteran, I think he'll win a decision probably if he can do enough here in the first couple rounds. I think he slows down a little bit in the third round, but Van on short notice, I'm not sure how his gas tank will hold up. He's never seen a third round, so I do like Zhalgas here.
Right. Scary part, Zhalgas always he's getting killed in these decisions at the end of fights, split decisions.
Right.
I think he gets it, but just something that you didn't think about. You guys have probably gotten screwed by betting him or betting the other way and being surprised you won money, so you already know.
Yeah, Jeff Molina won. I'm surprised I won on that one.
Charles Johnson one was very close as well, so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Zhumagulov by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Tabatha Ricci, Carson's wife, versus Gillian Robertson. In this fight, we got to pick Tabatha Ricci. I'll let you explain your breakdown for your wife first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just look at her. She's insanely beautiful. But I think she'll just be faster, stronger. I think the only way Robertson wins here is by submission. I think Ricci is good top control and will avoid those submissions. I think if it's on the feet too, I think she'll be winning all those strike exchanges. Physically stronger, physically faster than Robertson here, so I like Tabatha Ricci to win a decision.
Yeah, Robertson's just kind of all ground game. And she seems to have like a weird career. Like she can sub obviously like some of these girls that can't get off their back, but even so, like Macy Barber, like who has a shitty ground game, like Robertson got beat by her and couldn't get her to the ground. Ricci, she's me too strong. Like these Brazilian chicks actually like lift weights and they like, I don't know if they just eat more protein. They're not all vegans or something goofy going on there. But like the hip toss that she did against Jessica Penne, like Jessica Penne went like 6 feet up in the air off that hip toss or something crazy. So, yeah, I see her defending the bad positions. I can see her just getting in top control and stealing minutes and being better in the striking. So, yeah, I'm on Ricci as well here.
Yeah, I mean, she's 4 inches shorter, but she's only at 1 inch of reach disadvantage. I don't think Robertson will use the reach or her height to any advantage there. I think Ricci will be so much faster.
Pretty sure that height number might be wrong, because I don't think... From what I've seen, Gillian Robertson doesn't look like that big of a lady, I don't know. Doesn't really matter anyway.
Nope.
All right, Ricci by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Mateusz Rebecki versus Loik Radzhabov. Taking Rebecki, he didn't look phenomenal in his first fight. He came out very aggressive. Hit Nick Fiore with a lot of punches, and then kind of just got on top of him in the second and third round and slowed down a little bit. But Radzhabov, a little bit more dependent on his wrestling. When he fought Esteban, he got him to the ground pretty frequently, but Esteban also got rocked on the feet a couple times. Wasn't really prepared for the striking coming his way. More was just trying to defend the takedowns. And I just think that with the grappling more neutralized in this fight, that Rebecki's cardio will hold up a little bit better and actually find a knockout. I'm going to say in the second round with an accumulation of punching. And, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Rebecki hit Fior with some really hard shots. Fior was just so tough and so durable. He didn't go down. But, I mean, yeah, I think Rebecki, with his punching power, I think he'll be able to find a KO here.
Right. Radzhabov also got hurt multiple times in his last fight. Again, it's kind of hard to judge both these guys' fights. Radzhabov, there's better film on him because he's fought in the PFL and against some other names, but even over there in the PFL, the fight style's different. Sometimes just slower, especially if you fight Rush Manafo, a little bit slower fight. But Rebecki, in his face, probably pumping that left hand, and Fior showed good durability against Chase Hooper too, who hit him with a lot of strikes. So maybe it's just that Fior is very durable.
Right.
Rebecki KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Randy Brown versus Wellington Turman. Taking Randy Brown here, I'll take him by a knockout. I think that Wellington Turman's just not that reliable of a fighter. He has good jiu-jitsu, stuff like that, but overall, just pretty inconsistent. Not a great chin. I thought he got choked out unconscious in his previous fight. I remember I bet the fight not to go the distance, and there was a guillotine or something that Turman was in, and I saw him go limp, and then he woke up when he got out of the choke, and that was kind of bizarre. I don't know if anyone else saw that, but Randy Brown, also not the most reliable fighter, kind of fights an up and down game, looks very good versus Jared Gooden, fights Chaos Williams, wins, but gets knocked down twice in weird situations, and I thought he lost to Francisco Trinaldo, and then gets beat by JDM, so a weird little string of fights there for him. What do you think?
I mean, I think he's just got to use his reach and play the range game, and eventually I think he'll find a KO, but I mean, if he gets too cocky like he does showboating in the Trinaldo fight, he can get taken down and held down.
Right.
Turman's coming down a weight class here in this fight from middleweight to welterweight, so interested to see how his weight cut goes, if he'll be sucked in a little bit. Maybe it'll be a tougher weight cut for him, and maybe his chin won't be as durable.
Yeah, I think Randy Brown's weight cut's pretty bad as well. It's kind of weird to look at Jalen Turner, who looks massive at 155, and I feel like Jalen Turner's just the better version of Randy Brown at 155. And then Randy Brown at 170, just his chin doesn't seem to hold up there very well. I mean, obviously Jack Della Maddalena is going to knock out a lot of people, but yeah, like you said, he knocked down Francisco Trinaldo in that fight, and then he watched him get up and survive. So, not the smartest fighter, did a little showboating, and hopefully just puts on a decent performance and gets through this fight. So, Randy Brown knocked out round 1. All right, for the next fight, we have Neil Magny versus Philip Rowe. Taking Neil Magny by decision, the old Neil Magny way for the most part. Phil Rowe, this guy's got some good power. He's really big, missed weight in his last fight, but Neil Magny, super experienced, also the cardio machine, and if he can get this fight up against the fence, I just don't think Philip Rowe can break the clinch or stop takedowns, so I could see just Neil Magny getting top control and winning this fight, and also just outstriking probably at range. So, what do you think?
Yeah, they got the same height and reach. This probably be one of those weird ones where, I mean, usually they're at the advantage with their heights and reaches, but they're the same here. I just think Magny will be able to win those clinch positions, those grappling positions, and be able to get Rowe down and win minutes there. Magny by decision.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Rowe, too, he just fought Nico Price, and Nico Price looked horrible in the fight, super uncoordinated, and Rowe was starting to get beat up in that fight somehow. Like, he won round 1, slowed down a little bit, and then got the knockout in the third round. I believe it was the third round.
Yep.
And then, has some other fights, but he's like the giant in these fights. He's facing Jason Witt, who he's much bigger than. Kosei he's much bigger than. He was much bigger than Gabe Green, but Gabe Green just ate his punches and fucked him up. So, Neil Magny, I think he still has it, and he wins this one. And you bet this one as well, right?
Yes, I did bet on Neil Magny.
All right, Neil Magny by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Brenda Allen versus Bruno Silva. Taking Brenda Allen here. Bruno Silva and Brenda here. I feel like I've always just had trouble making picks on these guys. I mean, the last 2 fights, I'll just say, with Bruno Silva. When he fought Gerald Meerschaert, he looked absolutely awful. Then he came in against Brad Tavares and looked like a madman. He did look in better shape, though, I think, for that Brad Tavares fight. Brenda, on the other hand, he just proves me wrong. He obviously got hurt by Chris Curtis. He got beat by Sean Strickland before, but he's real strong. And even when he fought Jacob Malkoun, who I thought could have gotten that decision in that fight, we didn't really know Jacob Malkoun was really as good as he was until he just went on a little roll. And, he was very strong versus Jotko, and he beat Muniz on the ground. He just looked super strong on the ground. I think he can maybe just compete. He competes well on the feet. Muniz, though, was getting a little bit of the best of him on the feet, and that makes you curious whether Bruno Silva will be able to get some big punches in. I'm going to stick with Allen by submission in round 1 here. What do you think?
Yeah, Allen's looked good here of late. Nobody's subbing Muniz. The one worry for Brandon Allen is just his IQ. Is he going to want to stand up and strike with Bruno Silva? He shouldn't, but he could, and he'll probably get knocked out if that's the case. But I do like him to find a takedown here and find a submission early. Bruno Silva showed he couldn't really, or if you mix in the grappling like Meerschaert did, the threat of the takedown was just too much for him. And Meerschaert was able to. Meerschaert knocked him down too.
Right.
With strikes.
Left hand. And Silva will overextend himself, which should lead to a takedown. But
exactly.
Also in that, what makes me nervous about this fight, when Gerald Meerschaert fought him, it was always just fading the big punches. Gerald will just shoulder roll either way wherever the punch went and lean back. Brenda, on the other hand, I haven't really seen him do that. I feel like he just kind of sits in the pocket and leaves his head out there. So I could see Silva catching him, but I like the under 1.5 in this fight. I got it at plus 125. And I think that in that small cage, they just go at it. So taking, the under 1.5, Allen by submission in round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Gabriel Santos versus David Onama. Picking Gabriel Santos. David Onama, good power, all that stuff. Slows down, not the best fight IQ, and some things along those lines. Gabriel Santos looked really impressive and got robbed versus Lerone Murphy, and I bet on Lerone Murphy, and I thought it was a robbery. And he fought a very consistent game plan. He came out and point fought really well, used his kicks very well, and the hard part for Onama and getting a real prediction in this fight is, if anybody, Onama gashed against Nate Landwehr, the guy you have to murder to put away, or shoot to put away. So, he used all his gas in round 1, but Gabriel Santos probably won't bring that pace into this fight. So there is a little bit to be weary about with Onama's power, but I'm staying with Gabriel Santos by decision.
Yeah, it's a tough fight to predict here. Onama was a minus 350 favorite against Landwehr, and He just, like you said, just completely gassed out in that one. He was tagging up Landwehr, though, a lot, and Landwehr just ate those punches. So,
Right.
both these guys are super tough, super durable. I like this fight to probably go the distance, and I think Santos will get the better of him there.
Yeah, it's weird to see Onama as like underdog because like you go back in his fights and like you said bigger favorite against Landwehr. I think against Armfield he's like minus 500.
Yeah, it's minus 800. Tapology says Menendez, he was a favorite in that one as well, and then Jones, he was a pretty heavy underdog in that one.
Yes, that's a little bit of a swing here, but yeah, I it's just cardio. That's just a big part of it, and rounds 2 and 3 could easily go Santos' way. So, Gabriel Santos by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Justin Tafa versus Austin Lane. Sadly, I got to pick up against the guy who shares the same name as me. Austin Lane just hasn't looked good. He's huge. That's like a concern in this fight is that like Tafa is, 6 foot, just kind of a chubbier guy, but he has some timing on his punches still, and Austin Lane kind of like, just watch his fights, he doesn't really use his range other than his kicking. Like, he's got an 80-inch reach, but he'll mostly just run into punches, so it's whether Tafa can really time a punch here. This will be a sloppy-ass fight, though, so we'll go KO for Tafa. I could see this one being a slop fest to a decision, but what do you think here?
I like this to end round 1. Either way, I do think Lane leaves his chin up there to be hit, and I think Tafa will be able to find the chin of Lane. One thing that worries me, of course, is the size differential. And Lane, former football player, coming into fighting. He used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is Jacksonville is where this fight is taking place. So I'm assuming the crowd will be all on his side for this one. But I think the hometown guy will get knocked out here.
Yeah, I'm not rolling for anything here. Like if you just look at this fight on paper, it's funny to think that like Austin Lane should win this one. 12 and 3 versus 6 and 3, and then 6'6", 80-inch reach. But it's going to be so sloppy and so nasty. You don't really know what's going to happen, and
yeah, I mean, Tafa losing to Vandera, that's not a good look, and Lane losing to Greg Hardy, that's not a good look.
Maybe a bet we'll put down is just for fight to end in KO. I wonder what that line will be, because
that's probably destroyed.
I don't know, because I don't. What, you know what the under 1.5 is? Is it like minus 200 or something?
I think it's like 200. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but that could be a different route to take. So, yeah, slop fest. Justin Tafa by knockout round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Amanda Ribas versus Macy Barber. Taking Amanda Ribas. This fight will get to the ground, and it's game over for Macy Barber. That's just how I see it. So, if you look at the Vivian Araujo fight, I picked Vivian Araujo. I was wrong in that fight. Thought that she had more tools, but Amanda Ribas rocked her a couple times, took her to the ground, and just controlled the fight. And Macy Barber, I don't know if she's sucking off all the judges or what's going on, but somehow she won against Andrea Lee, not really sure how. And obviously the other infamous robbery we know as the Miranda Maverick fight. I just think as soon as Amanda Ribas tries one takedown, and she'll get it to the ground. I mean, Andrea Lee hardly even had a try for her takedowns, and just won the control time, got some damage on the ground. So, I think Amanda Ribas takes a decision here. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think the grappling advantage will be too much for Barber. I just think Ribas will be able to get this fight down on the mat with ease and be able to win the minutes there. She's got to do some damage, though, to win, because, like you said, Barber's getting gifted these decisions, so she's going to have to put a stamp on these rounds.
Right. Amanda Ribas too, like worry. Everyone like thinks about her chin, and Barber does have some like good elbows in the clinch and stuff as well.
once Ribas moved up to weight, her chin
It's been better,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I expect Amanda Ribas here again get the fight to the ground. Maybe Macy Barber will throw her phantom double jab out there and knock a ghost out or something. We'll see. But yeah, Ribas by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria. Guys, please drop a like, subscribe. Come in with those bets on Thursday. And in this fight, we're going to take Ilia Topuria. Not the big shocker there. I'm saying by submission. I think that Topuria just does such a good job of working the fight to the ground from his power shots. And we've seen that Emmett's pretty durable in these fights. And doesn't really seem to get rocked too bad on the feet. Dan Ide did have some big punches on him that kind of got in some awkward positions. But I think that this fight could get led to the ground where a submission will take place. So, also the weight cut for Josh Emmett. At this age, it's just getting to be a lot. He looked a little bit dead for that last fight. And what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, that was only 4 months ago, too. Cuts a lot of weight, looked dead in that interview after his weight cut. And then took a ton of damage, and now he's got a weight cut again. I just think at this age, he's past his prime. I think Topuria is going to leave a stamp on this one. What is he, 12 years younger than what Josh Emmett is?
Right.
I think in Topuria's last fight against Mitchell, he was over swinging a lot in that fight. He needs to be a little more controlled and pick his spots. But that's the only issue I have with him. We're not sure, I guess, what his 5-round cardio would look like, but I don't think it'll make it that far. So
right.
I like Topuria to win.
And, I mean, he was over-swinging at moments with Bryce Mitchell, but then at other times, I'd never really seen him use a jab before, and then he started using a jab and just, a right straight, at times, and it was just blowing Bryce's head open. So, Emmett, as well, this to me, a weird fight comparison for, it's me completely different style in the way this fight's happening. If Topuria had to fight Yair Rodrigues right now, that's a nightmare matchup for Topuria as well. So, Emmett, when he went into that fight, Yair kicked him to the body a million times as hard as he could, and then you'd see that just destroyed Emmett right away. So maybe you'll see some investment from Topuria to the body and he's good at that. The Jair.
Yeah, he is. He hit
Damon Jackson that way too.
Yeah, he hit Bryce in the body too as well.
Right, so that's another way to look for the fight to go. And I could even just see Emmett getting hurt on the feet a little bit too much and then shooting a takedown and running into Topuria's pretty good guillotine. So that could be an easy way out as well. So Topuria by submission, round 2. All right, guys, and to recap some of our betting because we were not around to do some of that. UFC 289. First bet, we won on the night. We had 1.26 units. Lost on Eric Anders right away. Honestly, never got to watch that fight back. I didn't buy the pay-per-view since I was gone, so don't know exactly what happened there. Bet on Kyle Nelson. Got a ton of shit for it and proved everyone wrong there. Blade Builder was highly overrated. Kyle Nelson's had some good experience, and he pulled it out.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson has looked a lot better in his last couple fights. I mean, he was getting KO'd a lot previously, but in the last couple, he's looked good.
That's the hard adjustment for understanding how to bet some people is Nelson has had 3 really competitive fights in a row, and then everyone just judges that just because he lost those fights, he's out of them. But you just see slight progressions in every fight of their striking. Colby Covington was one of those guys where when he came in and fought Kamaru Usman for the first time, he looked miles better than he had prior. So you got to watch out for those things when you're betting. Parlays, Dan Ige. he pulled that win out. Again, I wasn't able to watch some of these fights. I've been gone. I saw that David Dvorak lost. Steve Erceg won that fight. Don't know, again, all that happened. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, Dvorak won the first round, and then he was winning the second, and then Erceg dropped him probably a minute and a half left in that round. And then that really turned the table. Erceg obviously won the second, dropping him. But Erceg won the third as well. If Dvorak didn't get dropped, I think he goes on to win that second round and wins the fight if he doesn't get finished in the third.
Damn.
He just kind of gassed out. Wouldn't really expect that from a guy who's been training that much versus a guy coming in on short notice. So.
Right. In the prop bets, Amanda Nunes, Irene Aldana over 2.5. I don't know how much damage was dealt in the first 2.5 rounds, but I felt really good about this one going the distance, and it did. And then Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, under 2.5. Easiest bet ever. I mean, you just know the Charles Oliveira
that was like
fights.
the most confident bet. I mean, you had a lot on that one. So.
You just know that Charles Oliveira is going to come across and do his thing. Yeah. And Beneil is also game to swing, so
right.
It happens. Next card, Vettori Cannonier. Lost on the night, damn it. I had some bad bets in there, and then had some weird fights, but also I thought it was a really entertaining card. So, first one up there, Ronnie Lawrence had the no tap situation, but I think people see that Dan Argueta was he was dominating the time being, but I think that Dan Argueta was gonna slow down. He was much stronger than Ronnie Lawrence, but that guy, if you've seen his fights before, he slows down. He looks like shit after that. So I thought maybe Lawrence should have pulled it out if he didn't tap there. Next one, Bukauskas. Bet on him. He had some close moments with Pauga, but Pauga's just not there yet. And Modestas did a good job using his range and hurting Zach Pauga on multiple occasions. Following that, the controversy pick, you can make fun of me a little bit here. Lucas Almeida, I bet him. This is just your classic striker versus grappler matchup, and it's either pretty much there's two outcomes of this fight. It stays on the feet, Almeida knocks him out, or it goes to the ground and Sabatini fucks him up. So I fell on the wrong side of that one, and I looked like a fool for it. And you won that. You bet on Sabatini, so.
Yeah, I did. I just thought if Sabatini didn't get knocked out like he did in his last fight, I thought he would have been like a pretty big favorite. In Almeida's previous fights, he didn't really do a good job of stopping the takedown, so I just saw that easy path to victories for Sabatini.
Right.
A lot of people jumped on Almeida as well, so a ton of people bet on him.
Those like takedowns are so weird too. Like he just kind of like Sabatini like forces them against the cage, and then he squeezes them so closely that they really can't get their feet down anymore, and then he gets them down. So that was a good win from him. So moving down, Teresa Bleda. Probably it was parlay with Ronnie Barcelos, but it ended up still playing out and working out. Bleda, for a 21-year-old, I can see the inexperience with her game. Like, she's like rushing takedowns or whatever, but I knew as soon as this fight got to the ground, it was all Bleda, and that's what it was. Moving down further, had Quinones together with Sarukian. Quinones had one big punch, rushed in, and gave up all his defense, and boom, fight over pretty much. So Sarukian almost got knocked out, a little scary. Down further, Armin Sarukian and Silva under 1.5. I think a lot of people bet this one. I beat a ton of line movement getting it, and then I got burned real bad on it. And Sarukian, I think a lot of people are trashing him for that fight, but you still can't deny how great his grappling is, and he's still going to win fights. So, further down, Malta and Torres under 1.5, easy peasy. That elbow was money, and one of my favorite knockouts this year.
Yeah, that might be one of the better KOs of the year.
Yeah. And then
along with Michael Johnson getting knocked out. That was a good one as well.
That was a good one. A couple I have wrote down. Shit. I'm blanking right. Oh, Edson Barbosa's knee.
Yeah.
And then also Ishmael Bonfim's knee against Terrence McKinney. That's my number.
Yeah, that's
my number one right now still. And then under that, Jimmy Flick and Alexandro Costa. You bet the Costa by finish. That was a good bet.
Yeah, I mean, Flick is not very good. I mean, I was thinking either Costa by finish or under 2.5. I mean, if Flick was going to win, it was probably going to be first round sub. But yeah, if Charles Johnson is KOing you, finishing you, I just think Costa could as well, especially Flick coming back after a really long layoff.
And Flick just having no skills on the feet. It's all ground, so...
Yeah, he's kind of like the Chrome Gracie only submission.
And it's like, that's a doable thing, but it's not a doable thing at 125. Like, 125 is a division where you just can't just have jiu-jitsu. It's one of the most well-rounded divisions. Like, if you're going to do that, be fucking Paul Craig, you know?
Yeah, and Costa's got a good takedown defense, so I wasn't too worried with him getting subbed early.
Right. And then polishing off the card, two things that fell through. Again, beat so much line movement on these. I think that the under 2.5 and the Bleda fight went to like even money. But Gabriel Fernandez just she did what like Uriah Hall did when he fought Andre Muniz. She just laid on her back and kept her guard closed and didn't try to get up for a second. The times that she did, she got mounted, and then when she got mounted, Bleda couldn't get enough damage off in time to find that finish. So, that's a kind of a make or break bet. If I would have hit that one, we would have made like 4 units. So, or whatever the number would have been. But, yeah, quick turnaround. Week after week, gonna have these cards out. Topuria, Emmett should have a video out on Thursday. Anything else you got?
Yeah, I mean, UFC's on every Saturday throughout the entire summer up until like September 30th. I think that's the next off week, so we'll be here every week banging out these videos for you.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.
I know. It doesn't matter from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old down to me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now. Never